So foul and fair a day I have not seen. How far is called to force? What are these so withered and so wild in their attire, that look not like the inhabitants on the earth? Speak, if you can. What are you? All hail, Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis! All hail, Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor! All hail, Macbeth! Thou shalt be king hereafter. Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? In the name of truth, if you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate. Hail, hail, hail! Lesser than Macbeth and greater, not so happy yet much happier. Thou shalt get kings though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo, Macbeth and Banquo, all hail! Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more. By Sinel's death I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor? Speak, I charge you. What were these things here as we do speak about? Or have we eaten on the insane root that takes the reason prisoner? Your children shall be kings. You shall be king. And Thane of Cawdor too wanted not so. To the self-same tune and words. Who's there? The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success, and when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonders and his praises do contend, which would be thine or his. Silent with that. In viewing o'er the rest of the self-same day, he finds thee in the stout Norwegian ranks, nothing afeard of what thyself didst make. Strange images of death, as sick as hail, came post with post, and every one did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defence, and poured them down before him. We are sent to give thanks from our royal master, thanks, not to herald thee into his sight, not to pay thee. And for an earnest of a greater honour, he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor, in which edition hail most worthy Thane, for it is thine. What, can the devil speak true? The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes? Who was the Thane lives yet, but under heavy judgment bears that life which he deserves to lose. Whether he was combined with those of Norway, or did line the rebel with hidden help and vantage, or that with both his laboured in his country's wreck, I know not. But treason's capital confessed and proved have overthrown him. Glamis and Thane of Cawdor, the greatest is behind. Thanks for your pains. Do you not know your children shall be kings, when those who gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them? That trusted home might yet kindle you onto the crown, besides the Thane of Cawdor. But 'tis strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles to betray in deepest conscience. Cousins, a word, I pray you. Two truths are told, as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. I thank you, gentlemen. Cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why hath it given me earnest of success, commencing in a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor in good. Why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image doth unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought whose murder yet is but fantastical shakes so my single state of man that function is smothered in surmise, and nothing is what is not. If chance will have me king, chance may crown me without my stir. Worthy Macbeth, we stay upon your leisure. Give me your favours, my dull brain was wrought with things forgotten. Kind gentlemen, your pains are registered where every day I turn, leaf to read them. Let us towards the king, think upon what hath chanced, and at more time, the interim having weighed it, let us speak our free hearts each to each other. Very gladly. Till then, enough. Come, friends. This castle hath a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses. This guest of summer, the temple-haunting martlet, does approve, by his loving masonry, that the heaven's breath smells wooingly here. No juddy, frieze, buttress, nor coign of vantage, but this bird hath made his pendant bed and procreant cradle, Where they most breed and haunt, I have observed, the air is delicate. See now, our honored hostess, the love that follows us sometime in our trouble, which still we think is love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid girdled us for your pains, and thank us for your trouble. All our service in every point twice done, and then done double, were poor and single business to contend against those honours deep and broad wherewith your majesty loads our house. For those of old and the late dignities heaped upon to them, we rest your hermits. Whereas the Thane of Cawdor, we coursed him at the heels and had a purpose to be his purveyor, but he rides well, and his great love, sharp as his spur, hath holp him to his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guests tonight. Your servants ever have theirs themselves and what is theirs in compt, to make their audit at your highness's pleasure, still to return your own. Give me your hand, conduct me to mine host. We love him highly, and shall continue our graces towards him. By your leave, hostess. If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease success, that but this blow might be the be-all and the end-all here. But here upon this bank and shoal of time will jump the life to come. But in these cases we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. He is here in double trust. First, as I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, then as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides this, Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off, and pity like a naked newborn babe striding the blast or heaven's cherubim, housed upon the sightless courtiers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the size of my intent, but only vaulting ambition which overleaps itself, and falls on the other side. How now? What news? He hath almost supped. Why have you left the chamber? Hath he asked for me? Know you not he has? We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honoured me of late, and I have brought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon. Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time, such I account thy love, art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valour as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteem'st the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage? Prithee, peace. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none. What beast was then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man, and to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake them. I have given suck, and you know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling my face, have plucked my nipple from its boneless gums, and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this. If we should fail, we fail, but screw your courage to the sticking place, and will not fail, when Duncan is asleep, whereto the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him. His two chamberlains will I with wine and wassail so convince, that memory, the warder of the brain, shall give human the receipt of reason a limbeck only. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lies in a death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers, who shall bear the guilt of our great quell? Bring forth men, children only, for thy undaunted mettle should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chamber, and used their very daggers that they have done't? Who dares receive it other, as we shall make our griefs and clamour roar upon his death? I am settled and bend up, each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what the false heart doth know. Is this a dagger which I see before me, the handle towards my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that I am going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade indulgent gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now o'er the one half-world nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse. The curtains sleep, witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, whose howl is watched thus with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides, towards his design moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my hereabout, and take the present honor from the time which now suits with it. Whilst I threat, he lives, whereas to the heat of these too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done, the bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell. Both of you know Banquo was your enemy. True, my lord. So he is mine, and in such bloody distance that every minute of his being thrusts against my nursed life. And though I could with barefaced power sweep him from my sight, and bid my will avouch it, yet I must not, for certain friends that are both his and mine, whose loves I may not drop, but wail his fall, who I myself struck down, and thence it is that I to your assistance do make love, masking the business from the common eye for sundry weighty reasons. We shall, my lord, perform what you command us, through our lives. Your spirit shine through you. Within this hour at most I will advise you where to plant yourselves, acquaint you with the perfect spy of the time, the moment on't, for must be done tonight, and something from the palace, always though that I require a clearness, and with him to leave no rubs nor botches in the work, Fleance his son that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's. Must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart. I'll come to you anon. We are resolved, my lord. I'll call upon you straight. Abide within. It is concluded, Banquo, thy soul's flight. If it mind heaven, must find it out tonight. Why, how now, Hecate, you look angrily. Have I not reasoned, Beldams as you are, saucy and overbold? How did you dare to trade and traffic with Macbeth in riddles and affairs of death? And I, the mistress of your charms, the close contriver of all harms, was never called to bear my part, or show the glory of our art. And which is worse, all you have done hath been but for a wayward son, spiteful and wrathful, who as others do, loves for his own ends, not for you. But make amends now, get you gone, and at the pit of Acheron, meet me in the morning, thither he will come to know his destiny. Your vessels and your spells provide, your charms and everything beside. I am for the air this night I'll spend, unto a dismal and a fatal end. Great business must be wrought in noon upon the corner of the moon. There hangs a vaporous drop profound, I'll catch it ere it come to ground. And that distilled by magic sleights shall raise such artificial sprites, as by the strength of their illusion shall draw him on to his confusion. He shall spurn fate, scorn death, and bear his hopes above wisdom, grace, and fear. And you all know security is mortal's chiefest enemy. Hark, I am called, my little spirit see, sits in a foggy cloud and stays for me. Come, let's make haste, she'll soon be back again. Thrice the brindled cat hath mewed, thrice and once the hedge being whined, Harper cries, 'tis time, Round about the cauldron grow, in the poisoned entrails throw, toad that under cold stone, days and nights had 31, sweltered venom, sleeping god, boil thou first in the torment pot. Double, double, toil and trouble, fires burn and cauldron bubble. Fillet of a fenny snake in the cauldron boil and bake, eye of newt and toad frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's egg and howlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble. Double, double, toil and trouble, fires burn and cauldron bubble. Scale of dragon, tongue of wolf, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf, of the raven salt sea shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark, liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and slips of yew, silvered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk and Tartar's lips, finger of birth strangled babe, ditched delivered by a drape, make the gruel thicken slab, add thereto a tiger's cauldron, for the ingredients of our cauldron. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. Oh, well done, I commend your pains, and everyone shall share in the gains. And now about the cauldron sing, live elves and fairies in a ring, enchanting all that you put in. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open locks, whoever knocks. How now, you secret black and midnight hags, what is you do? A deed without a name. I conjure you by that which you profess. However you come to know it, answer me, though you untie the winds and let them fight against the churches, though the yeasty waves confound and swallow navigation up, through bladed corn be lodged and trees blown down, though castles topple on their waters' heads, though palaces and pyramids do slope their heads to their foundations, though the treasure of nature's germans tumble all together even till destruction sicken, answer me to what I ask you. Speak, demand, will answer. First, if thou hear it from our mouths, or from our masters, call 'em, let me see 'em. Pouring so's blood that hath eaten Hernine Pharaoh, grease that sweeten from the murderers, keep it throw into the flame. Come high and low, thyself an office deftly show. Tell me thy unknown power. He knows thy thought, hear his speech, but say thou not. Macbeth, 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 beware Macduff, beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me, enough. Whatever thou art, for thy good caution, thanks, but thou hast taught my fear right, but one word more. He will not be commanded. Here's another, more potent than the first. Macbeth, 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 had I 3 ears I'd hear thee. Be bloody, bold, and resolute, laugh to scorn the power of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth. Then I live, Macduff, what need I fear of thee? But yet I'll make assurance double sure, and take a bond of fate, thou shalt not live. Though I may tell pale-hearted fear it lies, and sleep in spite of thunder. What is this that rises like the issue of a king, and wears upon his baby brother round the top of sovereignty? Listen, but speak not to it. Be lion Mickles, proud and take no care, who chafes who threats or rare conspirators are. Macbeth shall never vanquished be, until great Birnam Wood, high Dunsinane Hill, shall come against him. That will never be. Who can impress the forest with the tree, unfix his earth-bound root? Sweet Bodmins, good! Rebellion's head rise, never till the wood of Birnam rise, and our high-placed Macbeth shall live the lease of nature, pay his breath to time and mortal custom. Yet my heart throbs to know one thing. Tell me if your heart can tell me so much. Shall Banquo's issue ever reign in all this kingdom? Seek to know no more. I will be satisfied. Deny me this, and an eternal curse fall on you. Let me know, why sinks that cauldron, and what noise is this? Show, show, show. All his eyes and grievous heart come like shadows, so depart. Thou art too like the spirit of Banquo. Down, Thy crown does sear mine eyeballs, and thy hair, thou art other gold-bound brow, is like the first, a third is like the former, filthy hags. Why do you show me this? The fourth, start, eyes. What, will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? Another yet, a seventh, I'll see no more, and yet the eighth appears. Cousins, I hope the days are near at hand that Chambers will be safe. We doubted nothing. What wood is this before us? The wood of Burnham. Let every soldier hew him down a bough, and bear it before him. Thereby shall we shadow the number of our host, and make discovery err in report of us. It shall be done. We learn no other, but the confident tyrant keeps still in Dunsinane, and will endure our setting down before it. 'Tis his main hope. For where there is advantage to be given, both more and less have given him the revolt, and none serve with him but constrained things whose hearts are absent still. Let our just censures attend the true event, and put we on industrious soldiership. The time approaches that will with due decision make us know what we shall say, what we have, and what we owe. Thoughts speculative, their unsure hopes relate, that certain issue strokes must arbitrate, towards which advance the war. Now near enough, your leafy screens throw down, and show like those you are. You, worthy uncle, shall with my cousin, your right noble son, lead our first battle. Worthy Macduff and we shall take upon what else remains to do, according to our order. Hear you well. Do we but find the tyrant's power tonight, let us be beaten if we cannot fight. Make all our trumpets speak, give them all breath, those clamorous harbingers of blood and death. Why should I play the Roman fool and die on mine own sword, whiles I see lives the gashes do better upon them? Turn, hellhound, turn! Of all men else I have avoided thee, but get thee back. My soul is too much charged with blood of thine already. I have no words, my voice is in my sword, thou bloodier villain than terms can give thee out. Thou losest labour, as easy mayst thou the entrenchant air with thy keen sword impress as make me bleed. Let fall thy blade on vulnerable crests. I bear a charmed life, which must not yield to one of woman born. Despair thy charm, and let the angel whom thou still hast served tell thee Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. Accursed be that tongue that tells me so, for it hath cowed my better part of man, and be these juggling fiends no more believed, that palter with us in a double sense, that keep the word of promise to our ear, and break it of our hope. I'll not fight with thee. Then yield thee, coward, and live to be the show and gaze of the time. We'll have thee, as our rare monsters are, painted on a pole and under writ, here may you see the tyrant. I will not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet, and to be baited with the rabble's curse. Though Burnham would come to Dunsinane, and though opposed, being of no woman born, yet I will try the last. Before my body I throw my warlike shield. Lay on, Macduff, and damned be he that first cries, hold enough. Hail, King, for so thou art. Behold where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free. I see thee compassed with thy kingdom's pearl, that speak my salutation in their minds. Those voices I desire aloud with mine. Hail, King of Scotland! Hail, King of Scotland! We shall not spend a large expense of time before we reckon with your several loves, and make us even with you. My thanes and kingsmen, henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland in such an honour named. What's more to do, which would be planted newly with the time, as calling home our exiled friends abroad, that fled the snares of watchful tyranny, produced forth the cruel ministers of this dead butcher and his fiend-like queen, who, as 'tis thought, by self and violent hands took her life. This and what needful else that calls upon us by the grace of grace, we will perform in measure, time, and place. So thanks to all at once, and to each one.
You see his crown that's gone, and cut